So what's the best polisher for a beginner that wants to get into paint correction or polishing? I'll answer that question and then I'll give you a few tips on what to look out for when you're getting into polishing. Now I do have other videos specifically talking about tips on polishing and how to polish, so I won't cover that subject too much in this video because you can just watch the other videos. And in any of the tools and products that I mentioned, I'll go ahead and link most of them that I can in the description box down below. Let's go ahead and get started. So we have a lot of polishers here at the shop. We have a 15mm throw, a cordless 15mm throw, we have a 1-inch, 3-inch, we have a 3-inch rotary, we have a rotary, we have the full gambit of polishers that you can think of. Now, if I were just to offer one type of polisher, if you're getting into paint correction, polishing, if you want to get comfortable with a polisher in your hand, if you want to get into working on your own vehicle, I'm going to recommend an 8mm throw polisher. I know there's a wide range of polishers from Rupes to 15mm to 21mm to the Lake Country like 5-in-1 polisher, but just to get started, just to get your foot in the door with getting a polisher in your hand, with figuring out a pad combo, with figuring out your arm speed, the down pressure, with figuring out what it means to actually do some correction on your vehicle, I'm going to recommend an 8mm throw. The ones that we have here is going to be the Gretsch Garage G9, which is their newest 8mm throw. And if you can find one, which is still one of my favorite polishers to date, is going to be the Gretsch Garage 6-inch polisher. Except we switch out the backing plate from a 6-inch to a 5-inch backing plate so we can run 5.5-inch pads on it. That's by far what I recommend just to get started. Reason being is because if you go straight to a 15mm throw or a 21mm throw, it's like you have to finesse depending on the brand that you get. It might bog down in certain panels, certain curves, and it's a bit more of a steep learning curve if you're just getting into polishing, paint correction, and you have no prior experience with it. I feel like you get better control out of an 8mm throw, and I would recommend you switch out the backing plate from a 6-inch, if that's what it brings, to a 5-inch backing plate, and you have 5.5-inch pads. That way it's a smaller size pad, it's a smaller size backing plate, and you have more control of the polisher. Because what a lot of people like to do, especially if they're working large panels, is to put so let's say grab like a 21mm throw, right, whether it's Rupes, Maxshine, Gretsch Garage, and then put a 6-inch pad because you're covering a lot of real estate with that type of combo. But the problem with that, if you're just beginning into it, is that you have to finesse the pad. It's not as a tight like tool that you're just working in these small sections. So just to get started, I recommend an 8mm throw. Now there's multiple brands out there. I'm not going to tell you which one specifically. Yes, I do recommend like a G9 or a GG6 if you can find one, but it's whatever brand that you can afford that's available, whether you go to Harbor Freight and you spend $80 on it, or you want to spend $150 or $60 on the Gretsch Garage G9. But that's my starting point. Now remember, that's just the polisher in itself. You still have to figure out the pad and compound and polish combo that you're gonna run. So if you were to get a Gretsch Garage G6 or a Maxshine or a Rupes or Meguiar's, you still have to factor in, okay, well now what compound am I gonna use to correct this? What pad am I gonna use to correct this? What polish am I gonna use to polish it? What pad am I gonna use to polish it? So there's still other factors you have to consider in order to achieve those results that you want. It's, again, I really like to stress on this point of like, it's not so much the tool itself, but it's the overall collection of what you're doing as a technician, as a detailer, that's going to get you the final result. So yes, the pad and compound and polishers does play a factor, especially if it's not the best quality of pad. That definitely makes a difference in your final result or the process to get you to your destination of the results that you want to achieve. But it's like you have to really look at it as a whole of like, okay, the polisher, whether it's a long throw or an 8mm or 5-inch or 6-inch, that's just one factor of everything else I have to take into consideration, right? Because now you have the polisher, the pad, the liquids, meaning the compound or the polish, and then you have the paint system itself, right? If it's soft clear coat, hard clear coat, and what's the condition that the vehicle is in? Do you have a lot of swirls? Do you not have a lot of swirls? Or what level of results do you want, and how much effort do you actually want to put into the paint work? Now, the best advice I can give you when you're doing your first few passes on the vehicle or the first vehicle that you're working on is take your time. Don't expect to complete the vehicle that day, because if it's your first time working with a vehicle and putting a pad, a compound, it's gonna take you a while. right? It's gonna take you time to develop that skill set, to understand what's the down pressure, to understand how fast or how slow to move your arm speed, or how much down pressure to put on certain panels, or how to work on curved areas, or how to actually inspect the vehicle in the sun, or using a light in your garage. Like, there's a lot of factors that, and I don't want to make this sound like it's complicated, because it's not. It just takes time, right? That's all it is. It's like learning how to drive standard. Like, the actual mechanics of driving standard, right, is very simple. You can learn it within 30 minutes. Now, to make it second nature is what takes time. It's going, it's going on the street and bucking when you're trying to go from first to second. It's letting the car start out at the stoplight. It's actually trying to not hit the car behind you when you're at an incline, right? Like, those are the things that build up the experience, that confidence, and that skill set to get familiar with driving standard. It's the same application with polishing, right? I would say focus on one hood at a time, or one panel at a time, and that's it. Don't say, okay, well, I only have 2 hours right now. Okay, I'm gonna try to finish the whole side of the vehicle. It's like, if you're just getting started, just focus on one panel at a time. Whether it takes you 30 minutes or an hour, it's like, focus on the skill, take your time. I have a few other videos explaining how to polish and giving you tips on polishing, so you can watch those. And it's like, just take your time with it. It can be very frustrating where you think you're correcting, and then like you spend all this time, you wipe down the polish or the compound, it's like nothing really happened, right? That's because maybe the pad wasn't spinning, not enough down pressure, the clear coat is hard, or the compound selection that you're using just isn't aggressive enough to get you the results that you want. So it can be frustrating, but just take your time, take it one panel at a time. And after every pass, it's okay, did I get the results that I want? Was and just audit yourself, audit that performance every single time. And literally, like, for panel per panel, you'll get better. And vehicle after vehicle, you'll be more efficient, you'll be more confident, you'll understand the paint system a bit better. And don't think it's gonna take you like a year to get better. I mean, over a few panels or a few cars, there will be a night and day difference in terms of how you're able to perform and your skill level from your first vehicle to your third vehicle. Remember, focus on the skill, not the specific tool or product, because on this vehicle and the other 5 vehicles that have came in here for paint correction, polishing, and ceramic coating, is that we've used basically the same pad system. The Oberk cutting pad and the Oberk cut, and then the Oberk polishing pad and Oberk polish. That's basically what we've used across the last 5-10 vehicles here. Now, we have changed up the system depending on the service that the customer is getting, but for the most part, we can work the same system on multiple vehicles. Meaning, for you, if you're saying, oh, I'm just not getting results with what I'm using, it's like, it's most likely something other than just the compound or polish that you're using. It is somewhere in the realm of your arm speed, the down pressure, is the pad flat on the surface, is the clear coat hard. So really look at yourself and say, okay, I didn't get the results. What little factor can I push up, push down in order to tweak the system to see if I get better results? Not saying that you will get better results, but say, what can you play around with to see, okay, maybe it was this instead of the pad or the tool or the compound. And that's gonna wrap up this video. I can go into a lot more detail, but I have a few other videos on actually polishing, which you can just watch those. So again, it's just a starting point for you. Don't think that this one decision will make or break you. It's just, you'll get better, you'll make progress over time as you work on your vehicle or other vehicles. You can check the description box down below, and I will have the links to the tools and products that I mentioned, that we can see if any of those are a good fit for what you're looking for. Other than that, if you have any questions, leave a comment down below, and I'll see everyone on the next video. Bye-bye.